This week on Arizona Illustrated, champions come from anywhere.
In every small village, in every country around the world, there are potential Olympic champions.
The birds and the butterflies.
Southeast Arizona is easily in one of the top 5 destinations to come and view birds in the whole country.
Angels awakening.
I am very proud of having published my book in the last year.
And an Arizona profile. Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. Champions can come from anywhere, big cities and small towns, east and west, north and south. What sets them apart from the competition is hard to measure and hard to know. But there are certain intangible qualities that you will find in all of them, like grit, determination, and big hearts, like the ones you'll find in these two sisters from southern Arizona.
This is Samantha Chandler. She and her sister, Allie, are some of the fastest high school runners in the entire state of Arizona. 2 years apart, this race is the last time they compete together for their high school team.
We got it. Come on, Alex!
To understand what makes them fast and how they got here, you first need to understand where they come from.
Well, it's a really small town. When we were really little, we had a nice life because we had everything we needed.
You do know everyone around you. Like when we go to church, like all of the people in church know who we are and we know them too.
There's a lot of history here. We've lived here since the girls have been born, obviously, but I remember taking Allie and Sam. One would be in a stroller and one would be on my back, and we go walking around.
I don't think having both of my parents as runners had anything to do with getting started into running.
Those girls eat a lot. You would never guess based on how thin they are.
Well, they wanted us to join a sport, but they really didn't pressure us to go into like cross country and go into track. They said if we wanted to join volleyball, that's fine. If we wanted to join basketball, that's okay. And they just wanted us to be active and do something outside of school. When I got to 3rd grade, I was very excited. I liked watching my sister and my dad run down the street because it looked fun and then it looked fast, and I wanted to, I guess, kind of feel what it was like to run fast. So I guess that's probably why I got sucked in, I guess, to running.
In 5th grade, I had finally won my first race, and the actual running part wasn't the fun part for me, but like finishing the race and like looking back, I'm like, wow, I had run a mile without stopping and I came in first. And so that was the fun part for me.
I think every sport gives every child that opportunity to ask yourself, why am I doing this? To be good at it. Well, what do I have to do to be good? Well, I got to work hard. Okay, well, how hard am I willing to work? And how honest am I willing to be about what my weaknesses are?
Allie, what is a standing wave?
Running it's something you do, it's not who you are.
We were learning that one.
And I think that's what Samantha and Allie have.
There's gonna fall out.
I know that's what they have. They feel really good about total self. They're not just runners, they're a complete package, which I know that's what we're most proud of.
As I went into middle school, my mom was the cross-country coach, and she said, they both said that I needed to join a sport. They didn't care what it was, but I needed to do something. And I'm like, well, she's the coach, so I might as well just do that. And so I did, and then I started winning races. And the more I started running, the more fun that the actual running became. But I think the fun part for me still is the competitive part. I just like going out there and beating people.
And beat people They do. The sisters compete in the 3A division for high school sports. In her sophomore year, Samantha finished as the 2-time state champion in the 800 meters, the state champion in the 2-mile, and was part of Rio Rico's state champion relay teams. Plus, in cross country, Sam is a 2-time state runner-up. Runner-up only to her sister, Allie, who finished up her high school career as a 4-time cross-country champion, 4-time 1,600-meter champion, a national cross-country All-American, and was named the Arizona State Female Athlete of the Year for 2017.
Allie Chandler, Rio Rico, the state cross-country champion.
Allie holds the state track 2-mile record and the Arizona cross-country course record. That's a 3.1-mile course that all female high school runners have competed on since 2005. Not bad for a couple of runners from a small-town team.
I'm going to paraphrase a guy named Arthur Lydiard. Basically says in every small village, in every hamlet, everywhere, in every country around the world, there are potential Olympic champions. You just have to find them. There's great kids and there's great talent everywhere. How at a small border town, a small quiet school, whatever, if you tap into what that kid wants and you help them figure out how to get there.
Okay, Patrick.
I tell all my kids on the team, winning's hard because if you have to try, and if you try, you might fail. If you don't ever try, you can say, well, I could have. But if you try and fail, you have to accept that you failed. And that's a really difficult concept for a teenager. It's a difficult concept for adults too, for that matter.
In Rio Rico and anywhere, there is lots of talent, and our job as coaches or as people are to help those kids develop it. Even in the classroom, there are children who struggle, and there are children who have lots of potential, but it's trying to help them use the potential and to be there to guide them.
You had a little bit left at the end. You came back with a 78. But we just got to figure out that third lap. Yeah. Okay? Nice work.
Where's Daniel? Oh, there he is. Daniel.
For every single kid that I ever coach, I always just tell them, don't be afraid to try, just to take the lead in a race. You go for it, and if you get out kicked, okay, we'll just come back tomorrow and try again. So that pretty simple lesson, they've taken it to heart.
Right.
Number 7 all-time in the history of the Arizona.
The girls' success has brought a lot of attention, and this attention has come with some questions. One being, are they good runners just because they come from a family of runners?
I don't like when people just assume that you're going to be good because your parents were good, or I don't know, just expectations. Yeah, they put expectations on you that you haven't even created for yourself. So people still do that now. They say the only reason that I'm good or the only reason Sam's good is because our parents were good, and they're making us run. And I'm like, no, it's not. But I don't know how to make them believe that.
I mean, if it was that simple, then we'd all know the next LeBron James is going to be his kid, and it's just not that simple.
And I know that Alex and Sam, they have the potential, they have the workouts, they have the family, but if they resisted, then it never would have come to fruition. But they actually were willing to take the risks and were willing to work hard.
Right.
And it's not luck, it's definitely hard work.
Nice job, Alex.
That hard work has paid off for both sisters.
There you go, man.
To their opponents, the Chandlers are tough competitors. Between each other, though, there is no rivalry, only respect.
I don't like when people ask me if I want to beat my sister or if there is a rivalry. Allie and I are not competitors. I think we're very supportive of each other, and at practice we're like friends and we're teammates, and at home we're sisters, and in a race we're competing, and we're competing against each other, but we're competing with each other, and I don't ever get on the starting line and say, I really want to be my sister. I want to say, I want to have a good race, and if that means that for some reason I beat my sister, well then that's good, but if she beats me, I'm not all mad about it. I'm really happy for Allie.
They forget that there's like 20 other people in the race, so it's not my main priority. Going into a race, you always want to win and do your very best. So I don't want to get beat by Sam, but I know if she beat me, then she's the only person that I would want to beat me because I know how hard she works.
I'll paraphrase my college coach because he said it very colorfully, but you know, running is not that important. You're running around in circles and jumping in the sandbox. He used to tell us all the time.
I know you guys get obsessed about time because tenths of seconds make a big difference. I realize that. But I would just want to let you know that I really was pleased just watching you just fight. Just fight.
How fast you run the mile really isn't that important.
Some running backs.
It's how close did you get to yourself? How close did you get to figuring out how fast you could run it? If it's a 4-minute mile, a 3-minute mile, or a 5-minute mile, that the number doesn't matter. It's did you get as far as you thought you could, and did you do everything about? Did you learn about yourself that you could learn?
There you go, Sam! That's what I'm talking about, Sammy. Go get her, Sam! We got it. Come on, baby. Come on, Alex.
In her senior year, made her final performance. That's Allie Shadler, the cross-country champ and state record holder, on the final leg for Rio Rico.
Ultimately, what it always comes back to, just to coach all kids, to coach kids. That's what's fun. And I tell them every day, I'm so lucky because I just get to end every day on the field. I could do that forever. Allie and Sam won't run forever, but I could coach kids forever.
It was once a private home nestled along Sonoita Creek in Patagonia, where Wally and Marion Patton fed hummingbirds and enjoyed the wildlife in their backyard. Now, more than 200 species of birds have been identified in the area, and it's become a popular destination for people from all over the world.
The Patton Center for Hummingbirds is a 1.5-acre property in Patagonia, Arizona. It's been owned by the Tucson Audubon Society for just 3 years. Formerly, it was the home of Wally and Marion Patton, who started homesteading here in the 1970s. And really, what they created was a globally recognized place to come and see and view hummingbirds.
We are from Kansas, and we came down here for birding and celebrating our anniversary. I found it on the Audubon Society's website, so it was interesting. We like looking for hummingbirds, so lots of different varieties. That's what we were looking for. We were living in Seattle, Washington, and we are moving all the way to Nashville, Tennessee, zigging and zagging, hitting national parks and wildlife areas. And a bird photographer friend of mine said that he came here and saw tons of hummingbirds, and I love painting hummingbirds, so we built it into our road trip and made it a stop for sure.
Over 200 species of birds have been recorded here at the property. But by far the bird that is the most popular, that draws the most people from all reaches of the globe, is the violet-crowned hummingbird. So if we went down to central Mexico, this bird might be common, but in the United States it occurs year-round in just a very few locations, Santa Cruz County being the core of that.
So I'm a scientific illustrator and I focus mostly on birds, so I have actually illustrated a hummingbird field guide for the United States, but it didn't even include some of these really cool migrants that they're getting, like the violet crown. So I'm hoping to get a lot of reference pictures today and do a lot of cool paintings of hummingbirds.
I'm a retired biologist. I retired from the Fish and Wildlife Service, and I moved here in this area because it's so great for scenery and birds and history. And I saw it on the Arizona Bird Listserv, I think it was, kind of the listserv for birders. And so I said, hey, they want volunteers? That's me.
The Patton Center is definitely more than just hummingbirds. If you walk through the Richard Grand Memorial Meadow, you'll see a lot of butterflies right now. And through the course of the year, we've already recorded more than 50 species of butterflies here. It's remarkable. But if you look even closer, you'll see all the larvae of the butterflies. So all these beautiful and alien-looking caterpillars. You'll see garden spiders, moths, all sorts of things. It's a very, very diverse place, and that's a result of the native plants. So people who are interested in attracting wildlife to their yard, that might be birds or butterflies, can come here and look at the species of plants that we have, see the flowers that are blooming, and take those ideas back and hopefully incorporate them into their own home landscapes.
Being a local bird guide, I started getting a lot of questions about the other types of fauna in the area, the butterflies and the reptiles and mammals and stuff like that. So I figured I better try learning as much about those things as I could, and kind of got hooked on butterflies. So now I'm sort of a birding and butterfly guide. So it's a very interesting place to live for a variety of different types of life forms, but kind of especially with the birds and butterflies. They're sort of the most conspicuous and colorful and best studied. These darker butterflies that are flying around the flowers here are pipevine swallowtails. It's a beautiful, almost black swallowtail with kind of an iridescent blue flash that you'll see when they kind of catch the sunlight. And like the monarch butterfly, they eat a toxic plant when they're caterpillars, so that they grow up to be toxic to birds. And presumably if a bird eats one of these pipevine swallowtails and then gets sick, that it will remember that it doesn't like eating those swallowtails.
People come here and then they usually ask, well, where can we go and grab a bite to eat, you know? And it's easy to say that we do have an impact. I'm an ambassador for the community in that way. Bird watching is a multi-billion-dollar industry across the United States, and Arizona, especially Southeast Arizona, is easily in one of the top 5 destinations to come and view birds in the whole country. We're drawing people from those wide areas because of the birds, and the local businesses certainly benefit.
Like what you see on Arizona Illustrated? Visit our webpage at azpm.org to watch and share videos from this episode. You'll also find stories from future programs, an easy way to submit your own story idea, an archive of past episodes of Arizona Illustrated. And you'll find everything you need to stay connected with public broadcasting in Southern Arizona. azpm.org. Science fiction novels written specifically for young adults have had a recent resurgence. They are growing in popularity, driven by the Hunger Games books and film franchise. There's a local author in that genre who's recently published the first in a series of novels based on some of her own extraordinary life experiences.
I spent 3 weeks in Malawi, 4 days in Paris, 8 days in Belgium, 5 days in Porto, Portugal, 3 days in Barcelona, and then I spent about 2 weeks in the Florida Keys.
I'm traveling alone in Spain, in Barcelona right now at the beautiful Park Güell, designed by the architect Antonio Gaudi.
She's all about the culture and wanting to see what make people tick. I think that's one of the most passionate things about her is her curiosity about the world.
Christopher Columbus' statue is over my left-hand shoulder here, and he was really...
I traveled through Colorado and Wyoming up through Yellowstone National Park for my book tour. I've been running workshops mainly focused on teen writers in libraries and small bookshops, some author readings, things like that.
Some of my favorite pictures are just showing her the excited young lady that she has come to be. She's always kind, always wanting to be challenging herself.
As I sit here writing in this very same spot that I was sitting in almost exactly 12 years ago, I made it. Like, that's the big thing. I made it these 12 years. And
I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder type 1. So bipolar disorder, commonly called manic depressive disorder, has the 2 highs and lows. So there's the panic that goes along with it, but then there's the elation, and so it's exhausting.
My senior year of high school, as an exchange student in Belgium, I came over to Paris for the weekend, which is called the Blanche Nuit, where museums...
So there's the panic and fear and this idea that I'm just going to be torn apart from the inside, and then the elation of striding through life like I can conquer anything and I'm invincible.
Pretty close. And it was a fabulous weekend. I was partying with fire dancers, I was walking high on Renaissance walls, like I was really sped up. I was intoxicating, I was making friends everywhere. I spent 10 hours in the Louvre, but a week later I was on top of my host parents' house back in Belgium, threatening to jump.
And then I also have undergone a lot of treatment for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, due to childhood sexual abuse as well as rape. One reason I went to Barcelona was because I had had kind of very bipolar experiences there, bipolar experiences in Paris, that I hadn't even realized the full extent until I actually visited again, 12 years later. Having bipolar disorder means that I have to be constantly prepared when I'm going. So that means understanding, even looking up psychiatrists and therapists in the area, the psych wards, what the policies are in each different country, so that if I go and something bad does happen, and I really try to analyze what the worst case scenario is, what might that be, and how would I rely on anyone that I am with, who can I, trust, how do I get in touch with family back home if something does go wrong.
Even right now in this instance, sitting here right in this moment in Paris as a 29-year-old, I know someone knows where I am. I know that I have a backup plan, an emergency plan. I have emergency pills in my purse, like constantly.
I actually feel pretty accomplished right now. I graduated high school in 3 years. I've lived on 4 continents, learned 5 languages, written 11 novels, and so I have all of these things, but I'm actually only functional about 50% of my life. But I am very proud of having published my book in the last year. It's the first in a series of 10, the second one coming out in a couple months, and so that's really exciting because there is a strong mental health component, advocacy component. The main character has bipolar disorder, even though she lives in a sci-fi fantasy universe, so that's actually been really useful for my recovery.
There's no healing for this, and that blew me away because I know God is good and God is great, and if I break my bone, He can heal that. Why can't He help the head? I've been going to a support group for families, try to figure out how to support someone with mental illness. And there were people there that cut the ties to their children, won't talk to them, won't see them, won't help them. I can't fathom that. I can't be that person. So whatever she needs, however she wants to behave toward me, I'll take it because I'm going to be here. I'm not going anywhere.
I would say that what I'm most proud of, honestly, is being able to communicate with my family and be a productive member of my family. Like, when things are really bad, the biggest accomplishment is making sure I survive. And then the next step up from that is making sure that I'm worthy of survival, and to me that's friends and family and how I interact with them. So advice that I would give to someone, especially a 16-year-old, where someone who was in my place when they were first diagnosed or first experiencing these kind of things, would be first and foremost, be fearless with yourself. So in that, I mean, don't be afraid to be yourself. Because you have this sudden diagnosis or these difficulties that are coming at you, you can still be fearless in anything that you're going forward with in life. You have to educate yourself, hands down. That's the second thing, is educate yourself, inform yourself, and also advocate for yourself.
Be patient with your child. Love them. Trust the process. Don't cut your kids loose. They need you. Time is your friend.
I really feel that I have to be fearless about having my mental illness. And I've really shown that in the way that I've lived, in that, I'm fearless in travel, I'm fearless in work, I'm fearless in school. And I most recently had to decide to be fearless in love as well. And that has been a huge step for me, to think that I can have that type of affection and commitment with someone. You have to be fearless in every way, and fearless in pursuit of yourself and the way that your mental illness shapes you, but doesn't have to define you.
You can learn more about Angel in the upcoming AZPM original documentary, Not Broken, a candid, unflinching, yet hopeful 1-hour documentary about the lives of 7 young people coping with mental illness, told in their own brave words. Not Broken premieres on Monday, October 30th at 9 p.m. on PBS 6. This week, we begin our occasional series, Arizona Profiles, where we introduce you to interesting people, places, and events that make our part of the world so special. Evamaria is a freshman at University High School with a unique perspective on learning and life.
Okay guys, I have a couple things and then we're gonna get started on what we left off. The other thing too is to remind you guys that you do have a quiz tomorrow, as you do most Thursdays and Fridays.
My name is Evamaria Contreras. I can't see colors or like shapes, but I can see light. Though it's not really like useful vision, I can see when it's night or when it's like day. My condition is rod cone dystrophy. It's basically the rods and the cones in the retina, they're not like functioning correctly. It's really cool because the teachers here, like they really want me to be successful, so they try to get all my material in Braille. People here are like really nice. They're really, really helpful. They want to help. They ask me actually if there's any way they can help so I can contribute to the group.
Well, hold up.
So where do you have the ground?
The ground is elevated just a little bit.
Did you leave like, you left like area here, right?
Yeah.
So you could like, today we're doing a poster and I give ideas on like the setup or how we should do it. They also try and help me understand what they're drawing. We need to draw faces.
Faces?
Remember the water droplets?
Yeah. We'll see if those smiley faces.
Instead of saying like this and that, I say like in the middle or like in the top right. They use more descriptive language. Yeah, that's true.
UHS is a school where you have to pass a test in order to get accepted, and she's Harvard bound. She's very interested in Harvard, so she's taken advantage of every opportunity to get ahead.
Like reparation, I know about that, labor transport.
It's really, really inspiring that she's not letting anything get in her way, and she's going to do anything anybody else can do, which is awesome.
Oh, you should show like a cloud around the tree. 'Cause that's what it does, like rainforest, it creates the weather systems.
Well, I want to do something in medicine. I don't know what yet, but I want it to be like with younger children. I really like little kids. I never say that anything's impossible. Nothing's impossible. If you set your mind to it, you can accomplish it. People that are blind like me can basically do anything anyone else does. With a little bit of help, nothing's impossible.
Shoulder or back? Just out the door.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. Next week, what's up at the Curley School? The back road to Mount Lemmon, barriers to mental health care, and an Arizona profile. I'm Tom McNamara. See you then.